The crystal chandelier above Jenny's head shook with each sob that tore from her baby's throat. Her arms ached from bouncing 10-month-old Maya, but the crying wouldn't stop. "Please, baby, please," Jenny whispered, sweat rolling down her temples. "Mama needs you to be quiet right now." Maya screamed louder. Her little face was red and wet with tears. Her fists grabbed at Jenny's work uniform like she was holding on for dear life. The other cleaning women in the hallway backed away slowly. Their eyes were wide with fear. Everyone knew what happened when you made too much noise in this house. "You have to control that child," Mrs. Park hissed. She was the head of housekeeping, and her face had gone pale. "If he hears that noise, if he comes out here—" "I know," Jenny said. Her voice was shaking. "I'm trying. I'm really trying." Trying isn't good enough. Mrs. Park looked toward the big black doors at the end of the corridor. Behind those doors was Zarb's office. "You know who lives here. You know what kind of man he is." Before we continue the story, I'll love to tell you what my stepdad said to me months ago. He said, "I will never get to 1,000 subscribers on this channel. I want you to prove him wrong by helping me to subscribe and turn on your notifications bell because you are my only hope here, please." Jenny knew. Everyone in Seoul knew about Zarb. The newspapers called him many things, but never his real name. They were too afraid. He controlled half the city's underground operations: drugs, weapons, protection money. His organization touched everything. And Jenny cleaned his floors. "The babysitter got sick this morning," Jenny explained, fighting back her own tears. "I called everyone. My mother, my friends, my neighbor. Nobody could take her. I thought maybe I could keep her quiet in the storage room while I worked." "You brought a baby into this house?" Mrs. Park's voice went up an octave. "Are you insane? Do you know what he does to people who disrespect him?" "I needed the job," Jenny said. "I'm 3 months behind on rent. The landlord said, this is my last warning. If I don't pay by Friday, we're on the street." Mrs. Park opened her mouth to respond, but she never got the chance. The doors exploded open. Everyone froze. Zarb stood in the doorway like death itself had taken human form. He was tall, over 6 feet, with broad shoulders that filled his black suit perfectly. His dark hair was swept back from his face. His eyes were cold, so cold that Jenny felt like ice was spreading through her veins. "Who," he said very quietly, "is making that noise in my house?" The hallway went silent, except for Maya's crying. Even the baby's screams seemed quieter now, like she could sense the danger. Jenny's heart was pounding so hard she thought it might burst. Every instinct told her to run, to grab Maya and sprint out of this mansion and never come back. But her feet wouldn't move. I asked a question. Zarb took 1 step forward. Just 1 step, but it felt like the whole world shifted. And I don't like repeating myself. "It's mine, sir." Jenny's voice came out as barely a whisper. "My daughter. I'm so sorry. The babysitter was sick and I had nobody to watch her. I thought I could keep her quiet." Zarb's eyes moved to her, then to Maya. The baby was still crying, her little body shaking with each sob. "Bring her here," he said. Jenny felt her knees go weak. "Sir, please, I'll leave right now. I'll take her home and you'll never see us again." "I don't repeat myself." The other workers scattered. They vanished into side rooms and around corners like roaches when you turn on the light. Within seconds, Jenny was alone in the hallway with a crying baby and the most dangerous man in Seoul. Her legs moved on their own. Step by step, she walked toward him. Toward those cold eyes that had seen things Jenny didn't want to imagine. She stopped about 3 feet away from him, close enough to smell his expensive cologne, close enough to see the thin scar that ran along his cheekbone. "I'm sorry," she said again. "I'll go right now." "How old is she?" Zarb asked. Jenny blinked. "What?" "The baby. How old?" 10 months, sir." Zarb stared at Maya. The baby had her face buried in Jenny's shoulder now, still crying, but not as loud. Her little body shuddered with each breath. Then Zarb did something that made Jenny's blood run cold. He reached out his hand. "Don't," Jenny said before she could stop herself. She took a step back, holding Maya tighter. "I mean, sir, she doesn't like strangers. She only lets me hold her. If anyone else tries, she screams even louder." Zarb's hand stayed extended, patient, waiting. "Please," Jenny tried again. "She'll just make it worse. She doesn't even let my own mother hold her without crying." Maya's head popped up from Jenny's shoulder. The crying stopped. Just like that. Stopped. Jenny felt her daughter's body shift. Those tiny hands reached out toward Zarb like he was offering candy instead of being a man who had blood on his hands. "No, baby, no," Jenny whispered, trying to hold on. But Maya was squirming now, pushing away from Jenny's chest, reaching for this stranger with both arms like she'd been waiting for him her whole life. "Let her go," Zarb said softly. "Sir, she'll scream. She always screams when someone else holds her." "Let her go." Jenny's arms loosened. She couldn't help it. The command in his voice made her body obey even when her brain was screaming no. And Maya, her baby girl who cried when anyone but Jenny tried to touch her, who screamed at the doctor's office, who wouldn't even let Jenny's best friend hold her, launched herself into Zarb's arms. The silence that followed felt like the world had stopped turning. Zarb stood there, this man who commanded an empire built on fear, with a 10-month-old baby clinging to his neck. Maya's tiny fists grabbed his jacket, her cheek pressed against his shoulder. Her body went completely relaxed, like she'd found the safest place in the world. And Zarb's face, that cold, hard mask, cracked, just for a second. Jenny saw shock flash across his features before he could hide it again. "She stopped crying," he said. Softer. His voice was different now, almost confused. Jenny couldn't speak. Her brain refused to process what she was seeing. "I don't understand," she finally managed to say. "She never does this. Never." Zarb adjusted his hold on Maya, supporting her more securely. The baby made a small sound, almost like a sigh, and her eyes started to close. She was falling asleep in a Mafia boss's arms in less than a minute. "Sir," Mrs. Park's voice came from down the hallway. She sounded terrified. "Your meeting. The representatives from Inshan are waiting." "Cancel it," Zarb said without looking away from Maya. "Sir?" "I said cancel it." His voice went hard again. "Reschedule for tomorrow." Mrs. Park disappeared. Zarb's eyes found Jenny's. "What's your name?" "Jenny, sir. Jenny Williams." "American?" "Yes, sir. I moved here 2 years ago." "Why?" "I was studying at Yonsei University, International Relations." "Was studying?" Jenny's jaw tightened. "Yes, sir." "The father?" Zarb asked, glancing down at Maya. "Not in the picture, by choice." "His choice or yours?" "His. He made it very clear he didn't want a baby." Something flickered in Zarb's eyes. "Follow me." "Sir, I should just go. I'll collect my things and—" "That wasn't a request." Jenny's feet moved automatically. She followed him through those black doors into an office that looked like it cost more money than she'd ever see in her lifetime. The room was huge. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the Seoul skyline, dark wood furniture that looked antique, artwork on the walls that was probably worth millions, and in the corner, behind glass, a collection of guns that made Jenny's stomach turn. "Sit," Zarb commanded, pointing to a leather chair. Jenny sat. She watched in complete disbelief as this dangerous man carefully, almost gently, settled into his desk chair without waking Maya. "Tell me," he said quietly, "why you thought bringing a baby into my home was a good idea." "It wasn't a good idea," Jenny admitted. It was a desperate idea. The babysitter called at 6 a.m. She has the flu. I called everyone I know. Nobody could help on such short notice, and I needed this job, sir. I'm behind on rent. The landlord's threatening to evict us. I have nowhere else to go. So you brought a baby into one of the most dangerous houses in Seoul. Yes, sir? Foolish. Very foolish, sir. And desperate. Jenny lifted her chin. Very desperate. Zarb's lips twitched, almost like he wanted to smile but had forgotten how. You're not afraid of me. I'm terrified of you, sir, but I'm more afraid of being homeless with a baby. Honesty, that's rare in my world. He looked down at Maya. The baby had her fist wrapped around his tie now, holding it even in sleep. Something crossed his face, something Jenny couldn't quite read. She trusts me, he said, more to himself than to Jenny. She's never trusted anyone before, Jenny said. Not like this. Not even my mother. I don't understand it. Neither do I. They sat in silence for a moment. Jenny watched this feared crime lord hold her daughter like she was made of glass, watched him unconsciously adjust his grip when Maya shifted slightly, watched something in his expression soften in a way that probably nobody else ever saw. Sir, Jenny said carefully, may I have her back? I should go. Jenny froze. No. No? She's calm. Why would I disturb that? Zarb leaned back in his chair, seemingly completely comfortable with the sleeping baby in his arms, like this was a normal Tuesday for him. Tell me about yourself, he said. Your story. Why is someone who is studying at one of Korea's top universities cleaning houses? Jenny hesitated. This felt like a trap. Everything about this situation felt like a trap. But those dark eyes demanded an answer. I got pregnant, she said simply. My boyfriend, Maya's father, didn't take it well. He told me to get an abortion or he'd leave. I refused, so he left. Disappeared completely. My scholarship covered tuition, but not living expenses. Definitely not living expenses with a baby. I had to drop out. Started cleaning houses because it was the only work I could get without a degree and with flexible hours for a baby. The father, Zarb said, his voice going very quiet. Korean? American. Military. He was stationed here temporarily. His name? Why? His name, Zarb repeated. And this time, there was something sharp in his voice. Something dangerous. Jenny shook her head. I don't want revenge, sir. I just want him gone. Those aren't mutually exclusive. They are to me. Zarb stared at her for a long moment. Then, impossibly, he smiled. It transformed his entire face, made him look almost human instead of like a beautiful weapon. You're protecting a man who abandoned you and your child, he said. Why? Because Maya doesn't need a dead father. She needs a mother who's a good person. The smile faded. I see. May I have my daughter back now, sir? I'll leave quietly. I understand you need to fire me. You're not fired. Jenny blinked. I'm not? No. In fact, your circumstances are about to change significantly. I don't understand. Zarb stood up carefully, still holding Maya. He walked around the desk and with incredible care transferred the sleeping baby back into Jenny's arms. Maya stirred slightly but didn't wake. You need employment that accommodates your daughter, Zarb said, returning to his desk. I need someone who isn't afraid to speak honestly to me. It's an efficient arrangement. Jenny's heart was pounding. What are you saying? Zarb pressed a button on his phone. Minho, come to my office. The door opened within seconds. A man entered, tall and lean with sharp features and calculating eyes. He looked at Jenny holding a baby and his eyebrows shot up. Boss? This is Jenny Williams and her daughter Maya, Zarb said. Effective immediately, Jenny is no longer part of the cleaning staff. She's my new personal assistant. The room went silent. Minho's jaw dropped. She's your what? You heard me. Jenny needs employment that works with her situation. I need someone with fresh perspective. It's decided. Boss, with all due respect. Is there a problem, Minho? The temperature in the room dropped. Minho immediately closed his mouth and shook his head. No, sir. No problem. Good. Zarb's eyes found Jenny's. Your salary will be 12,000,001 per month. The apartment above the garage is vacant. You and Maya will move in tomorrow. Childcare will be provided on site. You'll work standard business hours. Your responsibilities will include managing my schedule, screening communications, and attending meetings as needed. Jenny couldn't breathe. 12,000,001. That was over $10,000 per month. More money than she'd ever imagined making. Sir, I can't accept this. You can and you will. But why? You don't know me. You don't know if I can even do this job. Something flickered in Zarb's expression. Your daughter sees something in me that nobody else does. That tells me you're different. Special, perhaps. I'm curious to see if I'm right. Sir, the apartment has 2 bedrooms, a full kitchen, and a view of the garden. The nanny I'm hiring is former intelligence. Your daughter will be safer than the president's children. You'll start tomorrow at 8 a.m. Minho will brief you on your duties. Do you have any questions? Jenny had about 1,000 questions, but looking at his face, at the set of his jaw, she knew the conversation was over. No, sir, she whispered. Good. Now go. Spend the rest of the day with your daughter. Get your affairs in order. Tomorrow, your new life begins. Jenny stood on shaky legs. She made it to the door before his voice stopped her. Jenny. She turned. Zarb stood by the window, backlit by the afternoon sun. For a moment, he looked almost lonely. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For not running. Most people would have. Jenny looked down at Maya, sleeping peacefully in her arms, then back at this dangerous, complicated man who had just changed their lives. Most people don't have a baby who apparently thinks you're a teddy bear, she said with a small smile. His laugh was brief but genuine. Get out of here before I assign you more work. Jenny didn't sleep that night. How could she? 24 hours ago, she was scrubbing toilets and dodging eviction notices. Now she was sitting in a luxury apartment with marble countertops and a view of a private garden, watching Maya sleep in a brand new crib that probably cost more than Jenny's car. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number. Be ready at 8 a.m. Minho will brief you on your duties. Dress professionally. Z. Zarb had her number. The Mafia boss had her personal phone number. Her hands shook as she typed back, Yes, sir. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. The baby? She slept well? Jenny stared at her phone like it had grown a second screen. Was Seoul's most feared crime lord really asking about her daughter's sleep schedule? Yes, sir. She's been out for 4 hours. That's a record. Good. That was it. Just good. But something about that single word made Jenny's chest feel strange. The next morning came too fast. Jenny dressed in the only professional outfit she owned, a simple black dress she bought secondhand for university presentations. She did her makeup carefully, twisted her hair into a neat bun, and tried to look like someone who belonged in a mafia boss's inner circle. She failed spectacularly. You look terrified, Minho observed when he arrived at exactly 8 a.m. He handed her a tablet and a sleek black phone. That's normal. Everyone's terrified of him at first. At first? Jenny adjusted Maya on her hip. When does that stop? It doesn't. You just get better at hiding it. Minho's expression softened slightly when he looked at Maya. The boss arranged for a nanny. She'll be here in 10 minutes. former NIS agent, trained in child safety and security. Your daughter will be safer than royalty." "Why is he doing this?" Jenny asked quietly. "None of this makes sense." Minnow studied her for a long moment. "The boss doesn't explain himself, but I've worked for him for 7 years, and I've never seen him react to anyone the way he reacted to your daughter yesterday. Whatever she did, whatever he saw." He shook his head. "It changed something." Before Jenny could respond, the doorbell rang. The nanny was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and the posture of someone who could probably kill you 6 different ways. Her name was Mrs. Kim, and within 5 minutes, Maya was giggling in her arms like they'd known each other forever. "She's beautiful," Mrs. Kim said warmly. "We'll have a wonderful day together. Don't worry about anything." "She doesn't usually warm up to people," Jenny said, still amazed. "I know. Mr. Minho briefed me. But children sense energy, and right now your baby feels safe here. That's all that matters." Safe in a Mafia compound. The irony wasn't lost on Jenny. Zarb's office was exactly as she remembered. Intimidating, expensive, and somehow cold despite the morning sunlight streaming through the windows. He stood by those windows now, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Korean in a voice that could freeze fire. He looked up when she entered, held up one finger. "Wait." "If those shipments aren't in Busan by Friday," Zarb said into the phone, his voice dropping to something deadly, "I'll personally ensure you spend the rest of your very short life regretting it. Are we clear?" A pause. "Excellent." He ended the call and turned to face her fully. His eyes traveled over her appearance once, quickly, professionally. "You look nervous." "I am nervous, sir." "Don't be. You're here because your daughter has better judgment than most adults I know." He moved to his desk and gestured for her to sit. "Today you observe. Watch everything, ask questions, learn how I work." "Yes, sir." "And Jenny?" "Sir?" "Stop calling me sir every sentence. Zarb is fine when we're alone." Her eyes widened. "I don't think I can." "I don't care what you think. I care what I tell you to do." But there was no real heat in his voice, almost like he was testing her. "Say it," he commanded. "Say what?" "My name?" Jenny's heart hammered. This felt dangerous, intimate in a way that made her skin prickle. "Zarb," she forced out. His expression didn't change, but something flashed in his eyes. Satisfaction, maybe. "Better. Now, we have 4 meetings today. 2 with legitimate business partners, 2 with people who would kill me if they thought they could get away with it. Your job is to take notes and watch body language. Tell me afterward what you noticed." "You want me to analyze people?" "Your daughter saw something in me that no one else sees. I'm curious if you share that same instinct." The first meeting was with a tech CEO who kept glancing at Jenny like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve. Zarb negotiated a partnership deal worth billions of won without raising his voice once. He was smooth, calculated, terrifying in his precision. The second meeting was with an older man covered in tattoos. Yakuza, Jenny realized with ice in her veins. They spoke in a mixture of Korean and Japanese. Zarb's entire demeanor changed. Harder, colder, more dangerous. When the man left, Zarb turned to her. "What did you notice?" Jenny hesitated. "The tech CEO was afraid of you, but the Yakuza boss respected you. There's a difference." "Go on." "The CEO kept looking at me because he was trying to figure out our relationship. If I'm someone important to you, he'll try to use that. The Yakuza boss never looked at me once. He already knew I was irrelevant to the negotiation." Zarb's lips curved. "Not bad. What else?" "The tech CEO is going to try to renegotiate in 3 months. He agreed too easily, and the Yakuza boss is planning something. He kept touching his ring, a nervous tell." Zarb leaned back in his chair, studying her with new interest. "You're very observant." I'm a single mother. You learn to read people when your survival depends on it. Indeed. He stood up. We're done for the day. Go check on Maya. Jenny blinked. It's only 2 p.m. And you've done more than I expected. Go be with your daughter. She didn't need to be told twice, but as she reached the door, his voice stopped her. Jenny. She turned. Zarb stood by the window again, backlit by the afternoon sun. For a moment, he looked almost vulnerable. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For not running. Most people would have. Jenny thought about that for a moment. Then she smiled, small but genuine. Most people don't have a baby who apparently thinks you're some kind of safety blanket. His laugh was unexpected, brief, but real. Get out of here before I change my mind about that half day. The weeks that followed fell into a strange rhythm. Jenny learned the business, both the legitimate side and the parts that existed in shadows. She sat in meetings with gang leaders and corporate executives. She watched Zarb command rooms with nothing but his presence. And every evening, without fail, he stopped by the apartment to see Maya. She's getting bigger, he observed one night, crouching down as Maya toddled toward him on unsteady legs. She grabbed his finger, laughing. She's walking better, Jenny said, her heart doing something complicated in her chest. Last week, she could barely stand. Look at you, Zarb said softly to Maya, getting so strong. Maya patted his face with her tiny hands. He didn't flinch, didn't pull away, just stayed there, letting a baby touch him like he was a normal person instead of Seoul's most feared criminal. You're good with her, Jenny said quietly. Zarb's jaw tightened. I had a sister once. She was small like this. Jenny's breath caught. What happened? She died. I couldn't protect her. His voice went flat. Long time ago. I'm sorry. Don't be. It made me what I am. He looked at Maya, and Jenny saw something in his expression she'd never seen before. Pain. Old pain that never healed. How old was she? Jenny asked gently. 3. Car accident. Drunk driver ran a red light. Zarb's hand curled into a fist. I was supposed to be watching her. I was 12. I looked away for 1 second. 1 second, and she ran into the street. That wasn't your fault. You were a child yourself. Tell that to my parents. They never forgave me. I never forgave myself. Maya grabbed his hand with both of hers, as if she could sense his pain. She pulled his hand to her chest and just held it there, looking up at him with those big, trusting eyes. Zarb's breath shuddered. She never blamed me, not once. Who? My sister. Even as she was dying, she held my hand and smiled, like she was trying to make me feel better. A tear rolled down his cheek. Just one. Jenny watched this dangerous man cry for the first time, and her heart broke for him. That's why you're doing this, she whispered. That's why you're helping us. Maybe, or maybe your daughter reminds me that not everyone sees a monster when they look at me. Maya yawned and leaned against his leg. Within seconds, she was falling asleep, standing up, still holding his hand. She loves you, Jenny said softly. She doesn't know what I am, what I've done. Maybe that doesn't matter to her. Maybe she sees who you are underneath all of that. Zarb looked at her then, really looked at her, and something shifted in the air between them, something that made Jenny's pulse quicken. You should be afraid of me, he said quietly. I know. But you're not anymore. No, Jenny admitted. I'm not. Why? Because I've seen you with my daughter. I've seen the man you are when you think nobody's watching, and that man isn't a monster. Zarb stood up carefully, lifting Maya into his arms. The baby immediately cuddled against his chest, fast asleep. You see too much, he said, his voice rough. That's dangerous. For who? He carried Maya to her crib and laid her down with the gentleness of someone handling a bomb. For both of us. Then he turned back to Jenny, and the look in his eyes made her breath catch. I'm not a good man, Jenny. I know what you are. Do you? Do you really? He moved closer. I've killed people. Dozens of people. Some of them deserved it. Some of them didn't. I've built an empire on fear and blood and pain. Everything you have right now, this apartment, your job, your safety, it's all bought with money that came from suffering. I know, Jenny said again, not backing away. And you're still not afraid? I'm terrified, but not of you hurting me. I'm afraid of what I'm starting to feel. The words hung in the air between them like a confession. Zarb's eyes darkened. Don't. Don't what? Don't care about me. Don't see me as anything other than what I am. It's safer that way. Safer for who? For you. For Maya. For everyone. He turned away. I should go. Zarb. He stopped at the door but didn't turn around. Thank you, Jenny said softly, for everything, for giving us a chance when we had nothing. His shoulders tensed. Don't thank me. I'm not doing this to be kind. Then why are you doing it? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, so quietly she almost didn't hear it. Because your daughter looked at me and didn't see a monster, and for the first time in 20 years, I didn't feel like one. Then he was gone, leaving Jenny standing in the middle of her new apartment, her heart racing, wondering what the hell she'd gotten herself into. 2 months passed. Jenny fell into her role as Zarb's assistant like she'd been born for it. She learned the business inside and out. She learned to read his moods, to anticipate his needs, to navigate the dangerous world he lived in. And she learned that beneath the cold exterior, beneath the monster everyone saw, was a man who was desperately lonely. She saw it in the way he visited Maya every evening without fail. Saw it in the way he lingered in the apartment like he was reluctant to return to that big, empty house. Saw it in his eyes when he thought nobody was looking. You're staring, Minho said one day during a meeting. Jenny blinked. What? At the boss. You're staring at him. Her cheeks flushed. I am not. Yes, you are, and you're not the only one. Jenny followed his gaze. Zarb was across the room, deep in conversation with a business partner. But every few seconds, his eyes flicked to where Jenny sat. Just for a moment. Just long enough for her to notice. He's different around you, Minho continued. Softer. More human. That's ridiculous. Is it? I've worked for him for 7 years. I've never seen him smile until you and your daughter showed up. He actually laughed last week. Do you know how insane that is? Jenny didn't know what to say. Just be careful, Minho warned. The boss's enemies would love to know he has a weakness. And right now, you and your daughter are looking like a pretty big weakness. A chill ran down Jenny's spine. Is she in danger? We're all in danger in this world. But Mrs. Kim is good. She won't let anything happen to Maya. And the boss? Minho shook his head. He'd burn Soul to the ground before he let anyone hurt that baby. That night, Jenny couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about what Minho said, about weakness and danger and all the terrible things that could happen in Zarb's world. Khan, her door. Jenny opened it to find Zarb standing there in a black t-shirt and jeans, looking more human than she'd ever seen him. Is something wrong? She asked. Can't sleep. Neither can I. They stood there for a moment, neither moving. Then Zarb said, Can I see her? Jenny stepped aside. He moved past her into the apartment, heading straight for Maya's room. Jenny followed. Maya was sleeping peacefully, her little chest rising and falling with each breath. Zarb stood over her crib, just watching, his expression unguarded in a way Jenny had never seen. "She dreams," he said softly. "Watch her eyes." Jenny moved closer. Sure enough, Maya's eyelids were twitching slightly, like she was watching something in her sleep. "Before the world ruins them." "I wonder what babies dream about," Zarb continued. "The world doesn't have to ruin everyone." "It ruined me." "Did it? Or did you just build walls so high that nobody could see the real you anymore?" Zarb looked at her then, and the vulnerability in his eyes made her breath catch. "You see too much," he said again, echoing his words from months ago. "Maybe you show too much, at least to me." "Why do you think that is?" Jenny's heart was pounding. "I don't know." "Liar." He moved closer, close enough that she could feel the heat coming off his body, close enough to see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes. "Tell me to leave," he said quietly. "I can't." "Jenny." "I can't, Zarb. I don't want you to leave." His hand came up, cupping her face with a gentleness that contradicted everything she knew about him. His thumb brushed across her cheekbone. "This is a mistake," he whispered. "I know." "I'll only hurt you." "I know that too." "Then why?" "Because when you look at me, I feel seen. Really seen. Not just as a struggling single mother or a cleaning lady or an assistant. You see me. All of me. And I think maybe I see you too." Zarb's jaw clenched. "You don't know what you're saying." "Yes, I do. I see a man who's been hurt so badly that he built an empire just to feel safe. I see someone who's convinced himself he's a monster because it's easier than admitting he's just scared. I see..." He kissed her. It was soft at first, almost hesitant, like he was afraid she'd break. But when Jenny's hands came up to grip his shirt, pulling him closer, something in him broke loose. The kiss deepened. His hands tangled in her hair. Years of loneliness and pain and hunger poured into that kiss, from both of them. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Zarb rested his forehead against hers. "I can't promise you anything good," he said roughly. "I can't promise you a normal life or a happy ending." "I'm not asking for promises." "What are you asking for?" Jenny pulled back to look at him, this complicated, dangerous, beautiful man who had somehow become her whole world. "I'm asking for right now, for this moment, for whatever time we have before the world catches up with us." Zarb's eyes searched hers. "You deserve better than this, better than me." "Maybe, but I choose you anyway." Something in his expression cracked. The mask he'd worn for so long finally shattered completely, and she saw the man underneath. Scared, lonely, desperate to be loved despite believing he didn't deserve it. "I don't know how to do this," he admitted. "I don't know how to be what you need." "Then we'll figure it out together." He kissed her again, softer this time. Like a promise he was afraid to make, but couldn't help himself from giving. "Okay," he whispered against her lips. "Okay." From the crib, Maya made a small sound in her sleep. They both turned to look at her, this tiny person who had somehow brought them together. "She changed everything," Zarb said softly. "Yes," Jenny agreed. "She did." They stood there in the darkness, watching Maya dream, neither willing to break the moment. Outside, Seoul glittered with a million lights, a city full of danger and beauty and possibility. And in that small apartment above a garage, in the compound of Seoul's most feared crime lord, two broken people found something neither had been looking for. Hope. 3 months later, everything changed. Jenny was in Zarb's office reviewing contracts when Minho burst through the door without knocking. His face was pale. "Boss, we have a problem." Zarb looked up sharply. "What kind of problem?" "The Inchin crew. They know about Jenny and Maya. They're planning something." The blood drained from Jenny's face. Zarb's expression went cold, harder than she'd ever seen it. "How long do we have?" "Maybe a day, maybe less." Zarb stood up, his movements precise and controlled. "Get Jenny and Maya to the safe house, now." "No," Jenny said. Both men turned to stare at her. "No?" Zarb repeated, his voice dangerous. "I'm not running. If they know about us, running won't help. They'll just keep looking." "Jenny, you don't understand what these people are capable of." "Then help me understand. Talk to me instead of trying to lock me away." Zarb moved around the desk, gripping her shoulders. "They will hurt you to get to me. They will use you and Maya as leverage. I can't let that happen." "So what's your plan? Lock us in a safe house forever? That's not living, Zarb. That's just a different kind of prison." "Better a prison than dead." "Is it?" Jenny touched his face. "You've been living in a prison your whole life. Is that what you want for Maya? For me?" His jaw clenched. She could see the war happening behind his eyes. "I can't lose you," he said roughly. "Either of you." "Then end this."